At first glance, all you see are healthy rows of spinach and lettuce. But tending to these plants are men of varying ages, immersed in their gardening activities. They are the state president's decision patients, individuals who committed a crime but could not be held accountable during court proceedings due to a mental illness when they committed the offense. Our news crew is not allowed to reveal their identities, as the patients are not in a position to give consent. Clinical psychologist at the correctional facility, Tuafifwa Mwafufya, says the time spent working in the garden is beneficial for the patients.
Nature on its own has its own healing properties. So just the ability for them to be out of the facility, to be out of those walls, to be out here in the open, surrounded by plants and living things, that on its own has an impact on their psyche.
Mwafufya says some of the patients at the facility present with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia or mood disorders like bipolar 1, amongst other illnesses. Gardening, therefore, brings a sense of accomplishment. Many of the patients had no prior knowledge of mental illness until they arrived here and were psychoeducated on what they were going through. The clinical psychologist says mental health education within communities and families is very crucial.
As family members, for us to be vigilant, to be able to see when our family members are acting out of line or they are deteriorating, so we can refer them in time to the necessary institutions that can cater to their needs, as opposed to waiting until the situation is totally catastrophic and then they end up in institutions like this.
Hydroponic plants utilize about 10% of the water, conserving the rest. They grow fast and produce can be harvested in a month, with 40% of the yield being sold to the Gobabis community. Occupational therapist at the facility, Charles Mavulawa, says the garden is used as a medium to rehabilitate and empower patients with skills they could use once they leave. However, hydroponic gardens are not widespread in Namibia.
So we appealed to our corporate world, to corporate communities, to also try to invest in hydroponics in the community so that our inmates can also be able to seek jobs, to use their skills, to utilize the skills that they got during their incarceration.
This is what one of the patients had to say about working in the garden.
The best part about working in the garden is that it makes me happy. As SPD patients, working here makes us want to learn and discover more. When I leave the correctional service, I want to start my own garden to inspire others when it comes to agriculture.
Francis Shahama, NBC News, Gobabis.